Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a literal giant in the global energy market for 2026, China's Strategic Petroleum Reserve. Now, what makes this whole topic absolutely fascinating is that this massive stockpiling effort is actively shifting the global crude balance, yet the official numbers are deliberately kept completely hidden from the public eye. So, we're going to dig into the data, explore the physical capacity build-out, and most importantly, figure out exactly what this means for anyone selling into or just planning around Chinese energy demand.
I want to kick things off right away with a brilliant quote from our source material that really hits the nail on the head. That opacity is not an accident, it is policy. You see, this isn't some mere oversight or a delay in paperwork. Unlike the United States, which publishes its strategic petroleum reserve levels every single week like clockwork, Beijing treats its oil inventory data as a highly sensitive, strictly guarded secret. Why? Well, because an unannounced reserve is significantly harder for global markets and rival nations to trade against. It's a high-stakes geopolitical maneuver, giving them the freedom to build or release stock without ever telegraphing their next move.
So here is our roadmap for this explainer. We'll start with the unpublished number. Then we'll move into uncovering the 2026 numbers, followed by the billion-barrel build-out. After that, we'll look at strategy beyond security, and we'll wrap it all up with the commercial signal.
All right, part one, the unpublished number. Let's talk about the most important data that literally nobody publishes.
Because Beijing refuses to release regular official figures, the market is left pretty much in the dark when it comes to exact volumes. But here's the thing, the absence of official data doesn't mean we can't figure it out. Analysts actually crack this code using what is essentially financial spycraft. It's like a giant puzzle. Step one, they take the hard data we do have, which is China's reported oil imports and their domestic production. Step two, they subtract the refinery throughput. Basically, that's the oil being actively processed and used. Whatever is left over, that surplus, has to be going somewhere, right? So step three, they take that leftover estimate and rigorously cross-check it against actual satellite imagery of tank farms. It is just an incredible assembly of intelligence to find the truth. Moving right along to part two, uncovering the 2026 numbers by triangulating the data. By triangulating the analysis from the U.S. Energy Information Administration and various trade press data, we can actually uncover the true picture as we head into 2026. Based on the best available estimates, total crude inventories reach a staggering 1.4 billion barrels by December 2025. That is a mind-boggling amount of oil. But look at the composition here, not just the headline number. We can clearly delineate this. About 360 million barrels are strictly government-held stocks. The remaining massive chunk, roughly 1 billion barrels, sits in commercial inventories held by refiners and state oil companies. This dual structure is absolutely crucial to understand, especially since preliminary data shows this huge buildup is continuing straight into 2026. And guys, the sheer momentum of this accumulation is staggering, 1.1 million. That is the average number of barrels per day that China added to its inventories through 2025. To put that into perspective, pulling 1.1 million barrels out of the market every single day makes this one of the largest single demand factors in the global crude balance. It literally put a highly visible floor under global crude prices during softer months. Okay, part three, the billion-barrel build-out. Let's look at the infrastructure supporting this incredible surge. You know, you simply can't stockpile billions of barrels of oil out of thin air. Storage is the ultimate physical constraint on any stockpiling strategy. Just look at the scale of these 2025 and 2026 expansion plans. State companies, specifically Sinopec and CNOOC, are driving the addition of at least 190 million barrels of brand new storage capacity across 11 different sites in China. And their explicit target? Back in late 2025, they announced an intention to lift state reserve capacity alone above 1 billion barrels. The whole goal is to secure roughly 3 months of net imports for the entire nation. So what does this mean practically? Well, for B2B industrial suppliers, every single one of those 11 massive sites is a direct $100 million procurement event. You're looking at massive needs across the board: civil works, steel tank fabrication, pipeline tie-ins, advanced metering and instrumentation, fire suppression, SCADA monitoring systems, and even the marine logistics and port capacity needed to handle the ships that fill these tanks. It's a massive multi-year spending path. This brings us to part four, strategy beyond security. What does all this massive cover actually buy Beijing? We really have to question the underlying motivation here, because this volume buys them far more than just basic security. The standard benchmark set by the International Energy Agency for member states is 90 days of net imports. Now, China isn't an IEA member, but when you combine their government and commercial stocks, they're sitting on an estimated 121 days of import cover. They have engineered a massive buffer that completely blows past standard global security thresholds. So we have to contrast traditional energy security with what's actually happening, the creation of a market timing instrument. That surplus, well above the 90-day mark, gives Beijing incredible leverage. It allows them to act as a massive shock absorber. They have the capacity to buy aggressively when global crude prices dip, exactly like they did throughout 2025, and then simply pause their buying or even release stock when prices spike. This effectively dampens the severe economic volatility that an import-dependent economy like China absolutely despises.
And here is the absolutely critical second-order effect that BW planners often completely miss. Traders already price in China's buying habits, sure, but think about what this means for industry. By dampening volatility, this massive stockpiling program stabilizes Chinese industrial energy costs. When those energy costs are insulated from global shocks, it directly secures the procurement budgets of Chinese industrial buyers, which happen to be the very buyers that Western suppliers rely on.
Finally, Part 5. The commercial signal. Let's turn this into actionable intelligence for suppliers. So, how exactly can you turn this macro geopolitical intelligence into hyper-specific commercial strategy? Let's look at the direct market entry points for international companies. Yes, the Reserve Program is a state-backed project, and honestly, foreign suppliers rarely win the massive civil scopes or the basic tankage. Domestic state contractors dominate that space. But, and this is a big but, if you provide specialized instrumentation, monitoring software, SCADA systems, industrial cybersecurity, or inspection and certification services, those niches remain genuinely highly contestable. That 11-site program literally gives you a geographic map of incoming demand. Oh, and a quick bonus tip here. There's an incredible lesson regarding the information environment advantage. We started this explainer noting that official data simply does not exist. Well, the companies that step up, do the rigorous assembly work, and publish well-sourced analysis, ultimately own the answer surface. In markets where data is scarce but queries are plentiful, whoever does the heavy lifting wins the search engine optimization and the AI assistant authority. It's a remarkably powerful content marketing strategy that applies way beyond just energy data. China sitting on over 120 days of oil cover is deeply insulated against global supply shocks, and that means their industrial budgets can hold steady even through massive global volatility. So the question I want to leave you with today is this. Are you still just watching the official published data? Or are you ready to start treating this massive hidden reserve program as the true leading indicator for your own China strategy? Let this intelligence be your compass.